Howdy, folks. Live from Big Top, Chautauqua, welcome to another episode of Tent Show Radio. Funding support for Tent Show Radio is brought to you by the Bayfield Inn. Shop, dine, and relax year-round on the shoreline of Lake Superior in downtown Bayfield. Information at thebayfieldinn.com. And we're brought to you by the Bayfield Chamber of Commerce. Beautiful Bayfield and the Apostle Islands. You can tour sea caves and shop our galleries and stores on the shore of Lake Superior. Information and lodging at bayfield.org. And now, here's your host of Tent Show Radio, best-selling author, humorist, and singer-songwriter, Michael Perry.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to Tent Show Radio from Lake Superior, Big Top, Chautauqua. Tonight, we take 3 different dips into Big Top history, revisiting 3 different performances by one of the Big Top's paramount perennials, Arlo Guthrie. And a little later on, I'll share a story about, well, it's complicated, but it all ends with a talking woodpecker. Folks, the music you're about to hear emanates from a special space in a special place. The Big Top is just that, a grand blue and pearl gray striped canvas beauty suitable for a circus, but in this case, home to a history of live performance centered on the stage. The Big Top seats are set directly on the earth, and what a spot of earth it is. High atop a hill overlooking beautiful Bayfield, Wisconsin, Lake Superior, and those all-natural water-bound wonders, the Apostle Islands. If you enjoy that vision, if you enjoy what you hear over the course of the next hour and want to see and experience it firsthand, please get to know us at www.bigtop.org. It sounds beautiful up here because it is beautiful up here. You ought to come on up. Tonight's retrospective guest knows his way to the Big Top as well as any artist to ever lift the flap. Literally and figuratively a member of America's folk music family, son of Woody, the singer, not the woodpecker. I feel my earlier reference to a woodpecker requires this qualification or clarification. It's Arlo Guthrie, a performer known not only for his original music and interpretations of the standards, but a man gifted with the ability to take you on a talkin' blues detour like no other. The performances you'll hear in tonight's show are drawn from evenings we convened in 2005, 2011, and 2015. Sounding fresh as ever, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Arlo Guthrie.
I remember now the time you left. You thought to say farewell, but for how long you would be gone, there was no way to tell. You just set out upon your road. It caused you lots of grief and took you many places that you came too far to leave. Alone for years you sailed around. At last your ship come in. Charge admission on her deck or sail her out again. Among the people that you've met are some you'll see again, with perfumed flowers in your hands. You stood there in the rain. The stage for anything, and everyone was game. You came alone, and now at home they stop and ask your name. Alone for years you sailed around. At last your ship come in. We'll charge admission on her deck or sail her out again. to see your friends again, the ones left on the road, and ramble round from town to town and tell me what's been told, and sing the songs you sang before you sat before the king. And fate alone will guide you on and give you words to sing. Alone for years you sailed around, at last your ship come in. Well, charging Michelle on her deck, oh, sail her out again. Thank you. I'm looking around at this crowd here this evening, and I decided to do some old songs early, just because I get the, you get to read crowds pretty quick, the longer you do this. And I'm looking out there, I see a lot of people who probably saw a poster or heard something in the newspaper, or radio about this, and said, "Geez, I thought that guy was dead." See a lot of young faces out there, and some of my dad's peers. Some of you may have noticed I was on TV about a year ago, and yeah, that's why we're not on anymore. I had fun anyway. I didn't mean to be on TV. And, I was up in home in Massachusetts, and got this call from these Hollywood guys, and they said, "Hey, Arlo, we want you to be on TV in this show we're doing." And I said, "Well, thanks, guys, but I don't want to move to L.A. or nothing. And, and I'm just getting good at being a folk singer now, And they said, "Oh, well, we're not doing this in L.A., man. We're doing this over in Hawaii." I looked outside. It was like 14 below. And I said, "Well, talk to me, yeah." And they wanted me to play this sort of part of like a aging, ex-dope growing hippie sort of character. No, yeah, it was a big stretch. Funny how sometimes in life you prepare for things without even knowing at the time. You know what I'm saying? It just goes to show you how important every moment is. It's a folk singer's job to be knowing songs about where you're from, and so I'd been studying up on these tropical ballads, and it was a lucky thing for me that, because I was ready for them over in Hawaii when that happened, that show called Birds of Paradise we were doing. And so I thought I'd play a little tropical ballad here. It's not one I really had to learn so much as one I had to relearn. I actually knew this years ago. I saw the splendor of the moonlight on Honolulu Bay. There's something tender in the moonlight on Honolulu Bay. And all the beaches are filled with peaches who bring their ukes along. And in the glimmer of the moonlight, they love to sing this song. If you like ukulele lady like you. If you like to linger where it's shady, ukulele lady linger too. If you kiss a ukulele lady while you promise ever to be true, but she sees another ukulele lady fooling around with you. Maybe she'll sigh an awful lot. Maybe she'll cry. Maybe not. Maybe she'll find somebody else by and by to sing to when it's cool and shady, or when the tricky wicky wackies work. If you like a ukulele lady like you. This isn't one of those socially significant ballads, by the way, you know. I just figured, you know, that some people probably come to, you know, when you go to hear folk singers, you go to hear those, like, socially significant songs, you know, and I can imagine somebody sitting out there saying, what is the socially significant part of that song? Just wanted to point out before, you know, working overtime, you know, that there wasn't one, you know. I know that, you know, I didn't mean to stop the song or nothing, but anybody can get up here and finish songs, you know. I mean, the truth is, sometime last summer, I had to go to one of these folk festivals out on the West Coast, out in California, you know, and they wanted me to be doing one of these folk festival workshop things. And I hate workshop things. I used to like them years ago when you'd get somebody up there playing guitar like Dave Van Ronk or somebody, and you could shout out like, hey, Dave, show me how you're doing that, you know, and he would show you stuff, you know. But these days they don't do that. They just put you up on a stage with a bunch of other people and you sort of swap songs or something, and they call it a workshop. And anyway, I didn't want to do it, but I said I would, and so I got up there, you see, and they introduced everybody, and they said, welcome to the Topical Song Workshop. And I said, oh, wow, man. Topical. I thought this was the Tropical Song Workshop. Because sometimes when you get something in your head, you know, that's what you see. And I've been reading Tropical for months, you know. And I don't make the stuff up, neither. I went to school in Billings for a short time. I was smart enough to get in, not smart enough to stay there for very long. I flunked out. Started visiting American military bases while they was trying to decide what to do with me. And I told them, I said, guys, you know, just trust me on this, you know. I'm not worth it. Took them a few years, but they finally agreed. But I missed being in school. Missed being around smart people. So I went back to Massachusetts thinking they had lots of schools, colleges, universities, smart people everywhere. You know, you could see them on the street and everything. And so I was just hanging out with them, hoping that some of their smart would rub off on me. And it was working. I felt like I was getting smarter every day. Till I wrote this song. And that's when I knew that as I was going through life, smart was not going to be like a big-time word for me. I don't want a pickle. Just wanna ride on the motorcycle. See what I mean? I don't want a tickle. 'Cause I'd rather ride on the motorcycle. And I don't wanna die. Just wanna ride on the motorcycle. What a dumb song. Can't believe I wrote this song. Or that I could make a living singing it. For decades. I love America. It's true, I remember when I wrote this song, I was just out of college. I was riding my bike, I was going down a mountain road. I was doing 150 miles an hour, playing my guitar. On one side of the mountain road, there was a mountain. And on the other side, there was nothing. Just a cliff in the air. I wasn't paying attention. I was just going down the road. All of a sudden, by accident, a string broke off of my guitar. It broke right there, went flying across the road that way, wrapped itself around a yield sign. The sign didn't break, the string didn't. It stayed wrapped around the sign. It stayed in the other end of my guitar, too. I held on to my guitar with one hand, held on to my bike with the other, made a sharp turn off of the road. Luckily, I didn't go into the mountain, just went over the cliff. I was doing 150 miles an hour sideways and 500 feet down at the same time. I was looking for the cops. I knew it was illegal. Also knew that was it. I mean, I knew I didn't have long to live in the world, and in my last remaining seconds in the world, I figured it'd be my obligation to write one last farewell song to the world. Took out a piece of paper, pulled out a pen. I sat back and thought a while, but, I don't know, nothing come to me, It was like writer's block or something. So I just looked up for inspiration, and there in the sky, burning in flames across the clouds, was these very words. I don't want a pickle, just want to ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want to tickle, I'd rather ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want to die, just want to ride on my motorcycle. I knew it wasn't the most brilliant, I hoped it wasn't going to be the most brilliant song I ever got to write, but I didn't have time to change it. So just wrote it down, learned it right away. Of course, the most amazing thing was that I didn't die. And I remember I didn't die. Because it was just after that I started playing in these little coffee houses, folk clubs around the country. Actually, I wasn't even playing in them. I was just going in them with my guitar so I could get in for free or something, And I'd walk in and sit down, and if somebody who was supposed to be playing didn't even show up or got sick or drunk or crazy or something, they'd look at me and say, like, "Hey, Arlo, why don't you come on up here and sing something? Till we can find somebody good." I'd get up there. This would be one of the few songs I knew. So I'd start singing this song, feeling stupid, embarrassed, ashamed of myself. People were looking at each other like, we paid for that song. So I started talking in the middle of the song, hoping that I could talk my way out of singing that stupid chorus again. As time went by, the song got longer and longer, till pretty soon I could start this song on one coast and finish it 3 weeks later on the other coast. That's when I quit singing it. Time went by, years, decades. I never thought I'd sing this song again. Till just a few years ago when I discovered that they were studying the lyrics to this song in colleges and universities around the country. No wonder we're in trouble. I don't care. I feel good now. It's okay to be stupid now. Sometimes it's even smart. So now I can sing with pride in my heart. I don't want a penny, just want to ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want a ticket, 'cause I'd rather ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want to die, just want to ride on my motorcycle. So after writing that song, that I was really thankful that I had come from a line of songwriters. So when I was embarrassed with my own stuff, I could always just rely on singing some of my dad's stuff. That saved me many a time. It's interesting, just a few weeks ago would have been his 83rd birthday, and I was thinking about him. I'll tell him. It's interesting to me that some of the things he was writing about so many years ago now, 40, 50, 60 years ago when he was writing these songs, some of them, and he's not the only one. There's a lot of songs that were written way back that, could have been wrote just yesterday. It's amazing how some of these songs just hang in there. It's a tribute to the folks that wrote some of these songs that they are still so current. Of course, that's one way of looking at it. The other way is it's sort of still too bad the world still sucks. Here's one of the songs, and just to give an example of what I mean here. The crops are all in, the peaches are rotting, the oranges are piled in their creosote dumps. They're flying you back to the Mexico border to pay all your money to wade back again. My father's own father, he waded that river. They took all the money that he made in his life. My brothers and sisters come working the fruit trees, and they rode the trucks till they took down and died. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, and all they will call you will be deportees. Some of us are illegal, and others not wanted. Our work contract's out and we have to move on. But it's 600 miles to the Mexico border, and they chase us like outlaws, like rustlers and thieves. We've died in your hills and we've died in your deserts. We've died in your valleys and died on your plains. We've died neath your trees and we've died in your bushes. Both sides of the river, we've died just the same. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, and all they will call you will be deportees. A sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. Like a fireball of lightning, it shook all our hills. But who are these friends all scattered like dry leaves? The radio says they are just deportees. Is this the best way we can grow our big orchards? And is this the best way we can grow our good fruit? To fall like dry leaves and rot on the topsoil and be known by no name except deportees. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, and all they will call you will be deportees.
Here's an old song for my wife.
Coming in from London from over the pole, flying in a big airliner, chicken flying everywhere around the plane. Could we ever feel much finer? Coming into Los Angeles, bringing in a couple of keys. Don't touch my bags if you please.
short break. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Tent Show Radio.
Welcome to Intermission, folks. We live in a time of reckoning, although the very act of typing those words compels me to examine my definition of we. For so many, the news is old news. It is bemusing to catch myself declaring I am tired of this or that inconvenience when that inconvenience can be measured in months. For how many of my neighbors is inconvenience measured over a lifetime or generations? The recent year has refreshed my gratitude for the 3 other people who share a roof with me. Their very presence drives me to address responsibilities beyond egocentric musing while my coffee goes cold. Whether it is walking witness in the streets or buckling down and doing the paperwork necessary to navigate a new financial paradigm related to health insurance and the electric bill, they drive me to do better. In return, I work hard, and I mention this a lot, but it's in the job description, and make dad jokes. Reviews are mixed. My family, the presence of my family, forces me off wishy-washy. In my bachelor days, I could dip, dive, and hide. Not so now, especially when one of my children is an adult and the other a teen. I can't just lie in the weeds. I have to answer questions, engage in vetoes and ratifications, and, toughest of all, mediate between our cocoon and festering reality. For instance, we have regular family meetings to revisit policy and procedure as it relates to a certain dread virus. We read up, we discuss, and then we do the best we can. I admit I have slipped into preacher mode on the topic a time or two. Specifically, if I'm going to deride experts, if I am moved to hoot at a headline, it seems incumbent upon me to first read all the way down to the fine print, down there where the experts tell us right up front, this isn't easy, this isn't certain, further work is required and in progress. If you want certainty, I say, drop a big rock on your little toe. Perhaps one day we will all sneeze freely again, but for now I'm going to go with uncertainty over ego. I wear a mask to the farm store because, barring fresh developments, it seems at the very least neighborly. On a lighter front, the chronologic arrangement of my family compels me to remain conversant on everything from contemporary dating trends, Kool-Aid hair dye, and K-pop. If Dad does nothing but read Voltaire and try to bend the arc of time with a typewriter, he may miss the worldwide release of the latest Blackpink single, and the beans will not be weeded. I've been doing this long enough to know when I'm not operating smoothly, when my thoughts are disjointed, when a monologue is less roller coaster than bumper car, when the central theme tracks like a clown riding a pogo stick home after the tavern closes. Regarding this monologue specifically, I admit we have arrived at this penultimate summation in the manner of a Plinko disc on The Price is Right. There's no ribbon sufficient to put a ribbon on this, so how's about a pastoral reflection? Recently, I had the profound privilege of standing on the brow of a hill as the sun went down. All was peaceful. Right at the end, a pileated woodpecker dipped past, backlit and prehistoric in profile. Just as he dipped from sight and into the trees, he canted his head my way and, speaking very clearly, said, "You people are idiots." I was still working on a comeback when the stars came out. So let us return to another evening beneath the stars, a few years back, beneath the big top canvas, with more from Arlo Guthrie.
It's nice to be back. We're going to do some stuff tonight that's going to go back even longer than 40 years ago. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Here's one of the old ones. Hold me from the wind and take my hand. The song is sounding, softly singing. My song is cast upon the rainbow waves, forever splashing.
what's still left in all of this emptiness around me. Take me from the chill of the evening. Though you know my love that I must go, following the winds that blow inside me. I've nowhere left to run or hide, except if you will come and run beside me. And even if you do, there'll be a lot for us to do to keep believing. From the chilling of the evening. Now my time has come down many streets. I'm coming from a night decaying. The song that itself sings is all alone. I cannot even hear it clear. And now to leave before I understand just what it is I know I'm leaving. Take me from the chilling of the evening. Of the evening. Sounds like some of you heard this before. I know I have. That's because this song is called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant was never the name of the restaurant. That was always just the name of the song. And I guess that's why I still call the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Well, it all started 50 years ago. 50 Thanksgivings ago. 50 years ago on Thanksgiving, when my friend and I decided to go up and visit Alice at the restaurant. But Alice didn't used to live in the restaurant. She used to live in the church nearby the restaurant, in the bell tower, with her husband Ray and Facha the dog. And living in the bell tower like that, they used to have a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be. And seeing as how they took out all of the pews and having all that room, they decided that they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. We got up there, found the place was filled with garbage, and we decided it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage down to the town dump. So we took the half a ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of destruction and headed on toward the town dump. We got there, and there was a sign, a chain across the road saying, "Closed on Thanksgiving." And we had never heard of a dump being closed on Thanksgiving before. So with tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset, looking for another place to put the garbage, and we didn't find one till we come to a side road. And off of the side road, there was a 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff, there was another pile of garbage. And we decided that, well, one big pile would be better than two little ones. And rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. And that's what we did. Drove back to the church, had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep, didn't get up until the next morning when we got a phone call from Officer Obie. He said, "Kid, we found your name on an envelope at the bottom of a half a ton of garbage. Just wanted to know if you had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obie. I cannot tell a lie. I put that envelope under that garbage." So after talking to Obie for about 45 minutes on the telephone, that we finally arrived at the truth of the matter. And Obie said we had to go down and pick up the garbage. We also had to go down and talk to him at the police officer station. Now, friends, there was only one of two things that Obie could have done at the police officer station. And the first thing was, he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest over the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. And of course, the other possibility was that, well, he could have bawled us out and told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when we got to the police officer station, there was a third possibility we hadn't counted upon. And we was both immediately arrested, handcuffed. And I said, "Obie, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car." And we sat in the back of the patrol car and drove to the, quote, scene of the crime, unquote. Now, friends, I want to tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this was happening. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, and 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers and 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment they had hanging around the police officer station. They was taking plaster tire tracks, footprints, dog-smelling prints. They took 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. They took pictures of the approach, the getaway, the northwest corner, the southwest corner. And that's not to mention the aerial photography. And it was after the ordeal we went back to the jail, and Obie said he was going to put us in a cell. He said, "Kid, I'm going to put you in a cell. Give me your wallet and your belt." And I said, "Obie, I can understand you wanting my wallet, so I don't have any money to spend in the cell. But what do you want my belt for?" He said, "Kid, we don't want any hangings." I said, "Obie, did you think I was going to hang myself for littering?" Obie said he was making sure, and friends, Obie was, because he took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head and drown. Took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars, roll the toilet paper out the window, slide down the roll, having to escape and get away. Obie was making sure, all right. And it was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice, remember Alice? Still the song about Alice, and she come by, and with a few nasty words to Obie on the side, she bailed us out of jail. We went back to the church, had another Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep and didn't get up until the next morning when we all had to go to court. We walked in, sat down, Obie come in with the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. And he sat down. A man come in. He said, "All rise," and we stood up. And Obie stood up with the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures, and the judge walked in, sat down with a CNI dog. He sat down. We sat down. Obie looked at the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures and looked at the CNI dog. Looked at the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures and began to cry, because Obie come to the realization that this was a typical case of American blind justice. And there was no way the judge was going to look at the 27 8x10 colored. It didn't matter, because we was fined $25 each. We had to pick up the garbage in the snow. Of course, that's not what I come to talk about or nothing. I just thought I'd mention it. Thought I'd talk a little bit about the draft. And for those that weren't there, can't remember, or don't know, back in those days, they used to have a thing called the selective service system, which meant that when you was a guy and you turned 18, you had to register with the selective service so that you could select some kind of service that might be of interest to you. If your choice was none of the above, they would help you by making a selection for you. It's what they used to call the draft, and to do that, they had buildings all around the country, and some in New York, one on Whitehall Street, where you used to have to go in, get injected, inspected, infected, neglected, and selected. And I remember I had to go in there one morning for my physical examination. So I got good and drunk the night before, because I wanted to feel my best when I went in that morning. I wanted to feel like, I wanted to look, I wanted to be like the all-American kid. When I went in that morning, I was hung down, I was brung down, I was hung up, I was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly-looking things. And I walked in, I sat down. They gave me a piece of paper, said, "Kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. I went in there. I said, "Shrink, I want to kill. I want to kill. Want to see blood and gore and guts and veins in my teeth, eat dead, burned bodies. Kill, kill." And I started jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill." And he started jumping up and down with me, and we was both jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill, kill, kill." Till the sergeant come over, pinned a medal on me, sent me down the hall saying, "You're our boy." I didn't feel real good about it. I proceeded on down the hall, getting more injections, inspections, and all kinds of stuff that they was doing to me at the thing there. And they was inspecting, injecting every single part of me, and they was leaving no parts untouched. But I proceeded through until I come to see the very last man. And I walked up, I said, "What do you want to see me about?" He said, "Kid, we only have one more question. Have you ever been arrested?" And I told him the story of the Alice's Restaurant massacre with 5-part harmony, full orchestration, all kinds of other phenomenon. He stopped me there. He said, "Kid, did you go to court?" And I told him the story of the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows. He stopped me again. He said, "Kid, I want you to go over, sit down on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid." I went over there. Group W. Group W is where they used to put you if you might not have been moral enough to join the Army after committing your special crime. And there was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly-looking people on the bench next to me. There was mother rapers,
father stabbers, father rapers. There was father rapers sitting there on the bench next to me. I mean, these was mean, nasty, ugly, horrible crime kind of guys. And the meanest, ugliest, nastiest, the meanest father raper of them all was coming over to me and sat down next to me and said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, "I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $25 and pick up the garbage." He said, "Kid, what was you arrested for?" I said, "Littering." And they all moved away from me on the bench there, giving me the hairy eyeball and all kinds of stuff until I said, "and creating a nuisance," and then they all come back and shook my hand, and we had a great time on the bench talking about crime, mother stabbing, father raping. We were smoking cigarettes and all kinds of stuff, having a good time, till the sergeant come over. He had some paper in his hand. He held it up. He went like this. He said, "Kids, this piece of paper got 47 words, 37 sentences. One old time, the crime detail, the crime you're gonna say, pertain to about the crime, the rest, and officer's name, kind of thing got to say." And he talked for 45 minutes. Nobody understood a word he said. But we had fun, filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench. And I wrote down the massacre like I was supposed to, and I put down my pencil, turned over the piece of paper, and there, on the other side of that piece of paper, in the middle of the other side, I mean away from everything else on the other side, underlined, capitalized, and quotated, read the following words: "Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself?" I went over to the sergeant. I said, "Sergeant, you got a lot of call to ask me if I rehabilitated myself. I mean, I'm sitting here on the Group W. I'm sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids, houses, children, villages after being a litter bug." He said, "Kid, we don't like your kind, and we're going to send your fingerprints off to Washington." And friends, somewhere in Washington, enshrined in a little folder, is a study in black and white of my fingerprints. They're still there. They've been there 50 freaking years. And I'm not the only one. They've been adding to the collection recently. And so the only reason I'm singing you the song tonight is because you may know somebody in a similar collection. Even some of you could be in a collection like that. And if you ever find yourself in a collection like that, you don't know what to do, there may be only one, well, may not be much you can actually do, but there's something you can try. And that's to be wherever you are at whatever time, as it were. Stop whatever you're doing and go something like this. You just say, "You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant." That's it. That's enough. Just a couple bars at Alice's restaurant. Stop wherever you are. Imagine one person just doing that. Probably not worth collecting. But imagine two of them. Maybe two of them that was trying to get married in Texas or something. Or three of them out in Utah or Idaho. I don't know. Or maybe 50 people somewhere. Or maybe 50 people a day. Or maybe 50,000 people all across America. Stop whatever they're doing, singing a few bars at Alice's restaurant, letting it go. You know, when you get people singing like that, even the people collecting might start singing along. And when you get people singing along, no matter where they are, what side of the aisle, where they come from, or who they are, it becomes what we used to call a movement. Now, one of these days, somebody's going to write a song like that that's worth singing. Probably not this one. But while we're waiting for that one to get wrote, we can practice on the one we got. So we'll wait for it to come around here on the guitar. Some of you already know it. Goes something like this. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track, and you can get anything you want. No. I mean, I know I love this place, but that sucks. You want to change the world, you want to end war, stuff like that, you got to learn to sing loud so it's worth collecting in the first place. So wait for it to come around again and give it another shot. I'm still not proud or tired. Here we go. You can get as better at Alice's Red, except in Alice you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, at Alice's restaurant. Central, Monday morning rail. 15 cars, 15 restless riders, 3 conductors, 25 sacks of mail. All along the southbound Odyssey, train pulls out at Kankakee, rolls along past houses, farms, and fields. Passing trains that have no names, freight yards full of old black men, the graveyards of the rusted automobiles. Good morning, America, how are you? Say, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone when the day is done. Dealing card games with the old men in the club car. Penny a point, ain't no one keeping score. Pass the paper bag that holds the bottle. Feel the wheels run beneath the floor. The sons of Pullman porters and the sons of engineers ride their father's magic carpet made of steel. Mothers with their babes asleep, rocking to the gentle beat, and the rhythm of the rail is all they feel. Good morning, America, how are you? Say, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Nighttime on the city of New Orleans. Changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home, and we'll be there by morning. Through the Mississippi darkness, rolling down to the sea. But all the towns and people seem to fade into a bad dream. The steel rail still ain't heard the news. The conductor sings his songs again. The passengers will please refrain. This train's got the disappearing railroad blues. And good night.
Funding support for Tent Show Radio is brought to you by the Bayfield Inn. With 21 hotel rooms, over 25 vacation rentals, a huge on-site restaurant and rooftop bar, There's something for you at the Bayfield Inn. Information and lodging at bayfield.org. And by Bayfield County Tourism. Find out how to get in touch with your inner wild at travelbayfieldcounty.com. And we're brought to you by the Ashland Chamber of Commerce. Check out Restaurant Month and win prizes at visitashland.com. And by the Cable Chamber of Commerce. Cable, the gateway to Bayfield County, where world-class trails, forests, lakes, and adventure await. Visit cableforfun.com. That's cable, the number 4, FUN.com.
Arlo Guthrie, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Arlo. Circle on back sometime. Well, folks, that's our show for tonight. Whether you beam it or stream it, we thank you for listening. We're as grateful as a guy who receives wisdom from a woodpecker. We'd love it if you'd come on up Bayfield Way or down or over or through for a live show one day. Details always available at bigtop.org. And you can visit me anytime at sneezingcow.com. Until next we share the air, remember, where I come from and here at Tent Show Radio, nobody ever says goodbye. They just say, well, I suppose.
It was down in old Joe's bar room at the corner by the square. The drinks was served as usual, and the usual crowd was there. Now on my left stood Big Joe McGinnity. His eyes were bloodshot red.